We are not out of danger.
All U.S. military personnel have taken an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Those we spoke with today say that very promise.
We on over here. Live on this end. How goes it, everybody? Blanco-L here. Pleasure to be tuning right back in with all of you, as I know it's been a little while since the last time I've been able to see you. I've had a lot cooking for you, not only on the Bad Mojo front, but also on the Pause versus Players front as well. And for those of you who have been keeping up lately, you know there's a lot more on the way. That's why we're here right now. Now, of course, all of this has led me to all sorts of amazing opportunities and truly paved the way for a very entertaining future. And the best part is that I mean that for all of us. Once more, I did just want to go ahead and elaborate that I did have all sorts of amazing productions lined up for all of you, both on the Bad Mojo front and on the Pause versus Players front, to go ahead and enjoy starting in January. 2025 was ready to launch fresh. But things are changing. The world is quite literally changing. Things truly need to be watched over more than ever right now. And I'm not talking about entertainment-wise only. There's a lot of very important events going on that simply just need to be talked about. They're just too important to ignore. And to be quite honest, they may even be historic. So of course, we want to show up to the front with all of you. And being that we've already taken our time to really sink our teeth into entertainment, and also choosing to go ahead and dabble into the multiverse itself with PvP, I think it's about time that Bad Mojo mixes things up all over again. And this time, we don't just want to stick to entertainment. We don't just want to put more stuff out there that's going to help contributing to covering some of that really important information that we truly need to be able to digest. If anything, we want to be a part of bringing a lot of that to the light, to you guys. And to do that, well, our own way, right? Especially for those of you who support Bad Mojo and Pause versus Players and are ready to take on a whole new endeavor with us right here all together. But as we all know, there's been a lot going on. Nevertheless, in the midst of being out and planning all of these productions that I did want to go ahead and line up and launch for all of you, some very terrible news struck. Not only was this concerning, but it also got me thinking. If I were to proceed and go ahead and just start pumping out all the stuff I did want to, that I had planned and definitely wanted to put out there, it would simply take away from the importance of what was truly going on. So we, like a lot of great creators we noticed out there, decided to take a step back. At this point, I thought to myself, this is way more important, and not only do we need to go ahead and fill ourselves in with what was going on, but we really hoped that everybody else was listening as well. That being said, we decided to go ahead and let the whole thing ride out, support however we could, and then maybe proceed with all the media. But I'll be completely honest, then came another thing, and then another thing, and then another thing. And then here we are in March, and things just seem to be piling up more and more. And it just got to a point where I figured, you know what, if we don't just get back in there, we're just never going to be able to, because things don't seem to be slowing down. We decided we wanted to be a part of everything. We wanted to be able to go ahead and make sure that everybody was properly informed, that we were able to be a helping hand in the chaos that's going on today, and even forevermore. And more specifically, it's all the more honorable to be able to do so for all of you who support Bad Mojo, Pause versus Players, and everything we'll be moving forward with. So yeah, we fully understand that here we wear a lot of hats. Entertainment, it's been a part of our life, and it's not going anywhere. I think Pause versus Players goes on to properly show that. We started broadcasting, developing all sorts of new ways to dabble into storytelling and entertainment, anchoring our community into a multiversal experience that only they will truly understand, and really does unlock doors to all sorts of amazing other adventures in the future. But that too only goes so far in being able to represent what's going on in the real world here. And some of all this that's going on, as I mentioned, is just way too important to ignore. So it's time to introduce something new. It's time to go down a new path, one that we could all enjoy here together, not only as a community here with Bad Mojo and Pause versus Players alike, for whoever's simply willing to join the cause. A brand new mission, a responsibility, which we get to keep our ears close to the ground, along with sticking our noses where they belong and where they tell us otherwise. Now, with all that on the table, I am so proud and excited, along with honored, to go ahead and introduce Bad Mojo's The Sniff. our reporting department. Now, let's take a step back to where this all started, to why I took a step back in the first place, to one of the main reasons why we're watching the Sniff right now. This started off with none other than the California wildfires. An absolutely catastrophic natural event that rocked Southern California at the beginning of the year. One more time, we had all sorts of amazing bad mojo and PvP goodies lined up for all of you, but we just felt that it would be disrespectful, to say the very least, to just start pumping out content at a time like that, as this costed way too many people their prized possessions, their homes, their neighborhoods, and even their lives. And as more information started to roll out about these fires, things just started getting a little crazier, and I thought to myself, maybe we should say something about this at the very least before we get back to pumping content out. And right as we kind of started developing first steps in that direction, potentially turning into the Sniff, we started to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And then came the elections. As we all know, electoral times can be very turbulent. It causes a lot of chaos, like it or not. And as we all found out, this election was very much no different. Yeah, we have a new president in office. Though I'll be completely honest here, in the midst of all this, I figured that this could perhaps be a chance for our community, our nation, to come together, to help, to grow, to rebuild, but I could not have been more wrong. As a matter of fact, from January to simply March, we've already seen all sorts of madness. We've even caught wind of a quademic that has not exactly slowed down, it's just not being talked about. We've had protests over the deportations, along with a lot of concern about how this is being handled, fairly speaking. We've watched bills get signed left and right, for better or for worse. Needless to say, our politics are currently in shambles. We're even starting to see corporations in positions of major leadership. Like, some of this is out of a dystopian Blade Runner film, and that's really not even it. Plus, you haven't heard, there are currently protests going on across the globe due to civil rights. People have had it with how their leaders have, well, led them. And for the most part, they're pretty on the spot. It's like a worldwide event. There are wars all over the place. And to be completely honest, right here at home, we're at the brink of some sort of collapse. I mean, that's based on whatever hasn't collapsed already, right? Like, have you seen the housing market? And let's not even talk about the stock market right now. Truthfully, the economy and inflation right now is just through the roof. And with all this talk about supposed uprisings, it's not surprising that we seem to be at the verge of an entire world war. And of course, let's go ahead and mention all this technology that's coming out left and right that we truly have no idea how to keep under control. And I mean, that's just the stuff that we've kind of chosen to pay attention to, right? Because whatever happened to those drones and all that and started spreading all over the place? I mean, even if that was something that was already marked off as government work, I've never seen them, and especially not to that extent. And let's be honest here, am I the only one who's a little weirded out by the fact that the Pentagon simply came out and disclosed that UFOs are 100% real? Provided footage on top of that, and yet nobody's batting an eye? And of course, we have what could potentially be one of the greatest discoveries of our time circulating right now. I mean, you've heard about it, right? About the pyramids and the fact that they found a mega structure under them. I'm talking a massive structure, way taller than our tallest building on Earth, wide enough for all 3 pyramids to sit on top of. This thing's even got some coil action going on. I'm not even really sure. And get this, of course, it's all so deep underground that some recent scans are what was able to find it. There are so many discoveries being talked about that are swept under the rug. Look, I know this is a ton of information right now, and some of this needs to be paid attention to more heavily than others. And I'll come out on a limb here and let you all know, I 110% intended this to start with simply the California wildfires. And then I thought maybe I should break it up into episodes between the wildfires and the election. And then came the protest, in which we simply couldn't ignore and said, well, there goes another episode. And as we kind of waited for things to settle down and started planning our way through all of this, and well, the Sniff came to be, the crazier things God. We simply realized that we had to spring into action and really just put our foot forward and move on from there, especially right now, being that it's such a fragile time and that so much is truly at stake for a lot of us. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that Bad Mojo or Pause versus Players or now the Sniff is able to really make that much of a difference or save the world, but I am saying that we are honored, absolutely pleasured to be able to be an added voice into the mix, to go ahead and pitch in our 2 cents for those who can't, and to make sure that the things that truly need to be both seen, shown, and said are, no matter what. Ideally, this could have looked a lot of different ways. We could have seen us simply focusing on the wildfires, even showing up, boots on the ground, getting our own ground footage, drone footage, interviews, all that good stuff, and wrapping that up with some bells and whistles. We could have gone ahead and done the same with any of the electoral process or some of these protests going on at the very moment. But we really wanted to take some time to do this correctly. That's something that we had to digest and analyze from a new perspective. This is what led us to the Sniff. We simply had to buckle up and set up a foundation that would be ready for anything, anytime, all while re-highlighting some of those very important times of this year so far that truly have formed the situation we're in. Now, the crazy part is that people say history repeats itself, and it arguably does. As a matter of fact, back in 2021, I went ahead and decided to put out Justice for All. It was Bad Mojo's first attempt at taking a dip into modern times, society itself, and coincidentally, it doesn't fall far from the tree we're standing under right now. Let's take a second to recollect some of that, shall we?
Assalamu alaikum. Our friends and our enemies. There have been many of our people across the country from all walks of life who have taken it upon themselves to try and pool their ideas and to come up with some kind of solution to the problem that confronts all of our people. And you and I live in a country which is supposed to be the citadel of education, freedom, justice, democracy, and all of those other pretty sounding words, and bring about the freedom of these people by any means necessary. It's time out for you and me to stop running away from the wolf right into the arms of the fox. The history of unpunished violence against our people clearly indicates that we must be prepared to defend ourselves, or we will continue to be a defenseless people at the mercy of a ruthless and violent racist mob. And what you and I have to let the man know is we are peaceful people. We are loving people. We love everybody who loves us, but we don't love anybody who doesn't love us. We're nonviolent with people who are nonviolent with us. So whatever kind of action program can be devised to get us the things that are ours by right, then I'm for that kind of action no matter what the action is. I don't think when a man is being criminally treated that some criminal has the right to tell that man what tactics to use to get the criminal off his back. When a criminal starts misusing me, I am going to use whatever necessary to get that criminal off my back. Don't blame a cracker in Georgia for your injustices. The government is responsible for the injustices. The government can bring these injustices to halt.
Why? Because he took it away from you. Please. And if somebody tries to take you right to the root of your problem, they say that man's a hate teacher. You say you're advocating violence. He doesn't call it violence when he lands troops in South Vietnam. Please. He doesn't call it violence when he lands troops in Berlin. When the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, he didn't say get nonviolent. He said, praise the Lord, but pass the ammunition.
After we've watched what's happened over the last week, how do we put the society back together? Can we? We don't know that either. If you're grieving for America, you are not alone. Millions feel the same way you do. So many of our leaders, by contrast, are not grieving. They seem exhilarated. They feel nothing as our nation descends into anarchy. They see chaos instead as an opportunity to chance to solidify their control, to increase their market share, to win elections. They have no interest in talking about the details of what is actually happening. In fact, they're hiding it. They're demanding that you forget what you saw. Don't forget. Remember all of it, every bit, because it's proof of who they are.
Put it in park! Put the car apart! Hit the unlock! Hit the unlock! Hit the unlock!
Genocide. Genocide. If you believed we were seeing genocide, then you might understand the riots now in progress. A lot is at stake. The country is at stake. Those are the facts. They are not in dispute. The abuse of power is always and everywhere a sin, and it's increasingly common here. It's hard to think clearly about anything that's going on right now. The chaos, the destruction, the relentless lying from above. It's all too much. Americans are bewildered and they are afraid, but most of all, they are filled with rage, angrier than they have ever been. The worst people in our society have taken control. They did nothing to build this country. Now they are tearing it down. All our leaders do is set us against each other. They stage a never-ending national cockfight for their profit and amusement. But we're not going to play along. We will love our neighbors relentlessly in spite of all of it. Later, they will deny doing any of this. They are denying it now. But you know the truth because you saw it happen. This is how nations collapse. When no one in authority keeps order, American citizens are forced to defend themselves. They have no choice. No one else is going to defend them. They know that now.
We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone. The good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world. Millions of despairing men, women, and children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world.
Now, if any of that interests you, you can find the entire Rip-O-Matic doc now on the Sniffs playlist via the YouTube page. Here's the kicker. It's like the algorithm gods didn't like that. Because up until that point, things with Bad Mojo were truly flowing rather smoothly out there on the web. And after that, even up to this day, that may be one of, if not is, our lowest performing video yet. which is truly ironic because it has so much to say. And I'll admit, it is very touchy subjects that we're getting into here, but that's kind of the point of stuff like that. Taking responsibility and truly using whatever skills you have to go ahead and create something that could make a difference, whether to that's one person or 1 million people. And yes, after Justice for All, things got a little quiet for a bit, though we definitely made our way back up there, and now that Bad Mojo and Pause vs. Players are both thriving and well on the way into their evolution, I can firmly say that I don't mind. In fact, right now is such an essential time to truly put your voice out there, really stand up for what you think matters. But isn't it a little eerie how timeless all of this is? And isn't it kind of concerning how serious it's all getting right now to you, even just a little bit? Let's be honest here, we're getting to a point where everyone's realizing that regardless who you are, where you're from, what you look like, or what side you're on, you're still a part of the people. And as a part of said people, I definitely think it's not only within our rights, but within our responsibilities to do something about injustice in whatever way we can. In our case, we definitely tried with Justice for All, but things haven't exactly changed, have they? It's almost like they've gotten worse. But regardless, here we are. Bad Mojo is still very much pushing entertainment. PvP has now joined the fight and is now taking things multiversal. So now I think it's just as important and better time as ever to go ahead and establish a way to further be a voice for and with the people. So with that said, and with the idea that Bad Mojo is still very much Bad Mojo, and none of that's changing, we're just expanding, I have this transmission reminiscent of Justice for All for those who we are all talking to.
Are you coming to the strong up a man? They say the murder free. Strange things that happen here. Stranger would we met at midnight in the hanging tree. Are you coming to the tree? Where dead men called out for his love to flee. Strange things did happen here. No stranger would it be if we met at midnight in the hanging tree. Are you coming to the tree?
Candace, can you tell everyone what you're seeing right now?
Run, so we both be free. Strange things did happen here. No stranger would it be if we met at midnight.
Candace, what do you want to say?
Are you coming to the tree where necklace of hope side by side with me? Strange things did happen here.
I want the rebels to know that I'm alive.
We met at midnight in the hanging tree. Are you
Steps of the California Capitol to protest the
streets in Toronto? I told you
that I'm in District 8, where the Capitol just bombed a hospital.
Strange things
filled with unarmed men, women, and children. And there will be no survivors.
Are you coming to the tree? Are they strong up a man? They say
if you think for 1 second that the Capitol will ever treat us fairly, you are lying to yourself. Because we know who they are and what they do. This is what they do, and we must fight back.
outside the office of the jail.
I have a message for President Snow. But do you see that?
Veterans Health Services.
Fire is catching. And if we burn, you burn with us.
And as for the rest of you, or us, I should say, I guess this all sums up to just one really simple thing. A very fundamental concept that I know we all understand, but it just takes times like these to really remind us. So being able to do exactly that, right here, all together, whether you're from the Bad Mojo community, whether you're from the Pause versus Players community, or whether you're finding your way in now, and you're brand new to all of it, which is, I think, all the better. This simply goes out to show how we should stick together. A simple tip of the hat, if you will, as to why it's so essential that we all take care out there. Why it's so important that we all take care of each other. Because if this goes to say anything at all, it should at the very least serve as a reminder to let you know that you are not alone. We are not alone. And together, we are all that much stronger. Now, I do want us all to remember this, especially in these turbulent times, and just moving forward, period. Bravery is not about not being afraid. Bravery is actually all about being afraid, yet you still pull through with your faith all the same. So let's be brave, everyone. Let's keep those eyes peeled, and let's keep those ears up. Let's stay connected, let's support each other, and let's be there when we need each other. Now, something tells me I'll be seeing you guys right here on the Sniff pretty soon. But until then, take care of yourselves. For the first time out of many to come, Blanco-L and the Sniff reporting from the front lines. We'll catch you next time.